it's like, it's very strange for me to have such like anger and hatred towards things for almost no reason. I don't know why I was so mad. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a lot more soul searching to do there. What am I so bent out of shape about? You know what I mean? Like, so I challenged myself. I said, let's just try to be positive and see what happens. It was funny. I was literally a joke. I was like, I'm just going to be positive for the next 60 days and see what happens. And then it's just like, oh, life was way better.
It felt like you're walking with like a little pep in your step.
It's like life got better. Wow, look at that. Like I changed my outlook. If you expect bad things to happen all the time, they will. It will find you.
Welcome to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. I'm your host, Mike Squires, and today I'm joined by my friend Danimal Lector. Danimal is an incredible artist, producer, engineer from Connecticut, and Dan and I go way back. I shot some of my first music videos with Dan, and I worked on my first album with him. You can support the Mike Squires and Friends podcast by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. I got great news, guys. I finally have some really dope merch. I have a pizza delivery shirt based on my song Crazy with Chris Webby that I'm really excited to release. I'm gonna throw the photos of the front and back. I'm wearing one right now. But yeah, it's because, you know, me and Chris have our song represent Connecticut in the 50 States project. And also Connecticut has the best pizza. There's no doubt about that. So if you wanna get one, you can get one at lifeismerch.com. And back to the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and Instagram. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to its superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with two-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharings with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now, with that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Danimal Lector, the Body Collector, incredible rapper, super talented engineer, just an overall musical and graphic genius, also a dad. I already said his name, Danimal Lector, but Dan, how you doing, dude?
Thanks, man. I appreciate the nice intro. I'm doing pretty well myself. I can't complain. How you been?
Good.
It's been a while. This is a nice little
catch up, dude.
Yeah, you know, it's been a minute. Besides bumping into you at Target.
Yeah, that was when you were doing holiday shopping, dude.
Yeah, doing Christmas shopping.
That's mad funny, dude. But yeah, no, I'm trying a new thing with the big intros.
Yep,
trying to see how people feel, dude.
I like it.
But I want to talk about, like, just to get people familiar, like, what you do. Yep. You know what I mean? So maybe tell people a little bit, like, about who you are.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I started off making music as a kid. Like, it was just a passion of mine, right? So that's always been there. But I eventually went to college because I had to turn this into something tangible, you know? So my mom helped me. She said, if you want to do something with music, like a career, go get some technical, you know, skills behind you. You can't just do this out your basement forever. So I went to college for audio recording, did that, and opened up my studio that I was running out of my house, which you remember.
Lector's Lab, dude.
Yep. So that's like the bread and butter of what I do is like I have my own little creative workstation at my house with the music and graphic design, started getting into animation. But it's mostly started off with like the hip-hop production, engineering, and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah,
and I want to talk to you about like how we connected, right?
Yeah.
Because so Dan was one of the first person I ever shot a music video with. You're like in the list of like the initial 5 for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
you might even be like one or like initial 3. I think
it might have been number 2 because I remember having to convince you. Like, dude, it was a contest entry for like
I
Funk
remember
Volume
this. Yeah,
or something
dude.
like that. And it was like, I can shoot the video. I had like a camera at home. I was like, so me and my friend Brian shot it in his basement, and we sent you the footage.
And that was the first thing we
and
did.
you had
because
to edit it at first because I didn't know how to edit anything.
Yeah,
and I
didn't even remember that too. Because
Yeah.
when I think of the first thing we worked on, I think of the first music video we did with the pig's head, dude.
Oh yeah, that was great too, though.
That's 666 Schizo.
Yeah, 666 Schizo. That's still a classic. I still have funny visions, like when we had to buy the head. Like I went to a farm and bought a legitimate pig head, and had to keep it in my mom's freezer and shit. Like it was just like the most ridiculous stuff ever.
And you got to understand, like, this is me kind of. I'm young I don't know. I'm like just starting to get my foot in the door with like film. So like for me to like go on set and like be like, oh no, there's like a pig's head. Like, you know what I mean? Like one of the first video I ever did.
That's what I mean.
It's kind of a crazy entry.
It was very like Texas Chainsaw-ish of like a rap video, but it's funny too because you were literally probably like 16 years old.
Dude, I was hella...
Like, so getting you out of your like mom's grasp at times might have been a little difficult too because who knows what the heck she thought we were doing over there.
Yeah, because it's so like... my mom knew I was already doing like videos and stuff because I went to the city, but like you probably were like the first person I shot a video with that like, was somebody who I was like meeting through like music.
Yeah, it wasn't like somebody, because I think the other person you were shooting with was like a friend, like your high school, someone from school. So it's like, well, who's this other grown man that's like paying you to come over to make these crazy music videos?
But yeah, and we ended up working on a lot. I remember too, like, a lesson that I learned early was like trading value, because one of the first value trades I ever did was I did a promo video for your studio.
Yep.
In return, you mixed a song that I did with Pimo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like seeing that, like, it was just kind of like an early way of just like learning that, like,
that barter system and how valuable it could be when you have some skills. And this is more my thing. I'm not saying but like, if you don't got a lot of money in the bank, but you've got something to offer people, like talent, whether that's making music, videos, whatever, it could be anything. It could be landscaping. If you can use that to get something else in return without having to exchange money, that's the best.
Oh, yeah. No, I pretty much live off of that too,
Yeah.
dude, because I don't think my career I don't think I would have been able to do half of what I did without like at least getting in the door with a different skill. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like I may have like a song with an artist. Like, for example, I have a song with Sammy Adams, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I met Sammy Adams. I met Sammy Adams because I did a music video with him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, using your skills and getting you in the door can actually lead to other opportunities.
Yeah, there's been a lot of those moments for me too where it's like, whether it's making a beat for somebody or doing something, I like that. Like, I can make beats. I give you a beat, and that opens the door to then, I rap too. Maybe I can get you on my song, whether it's a feature with somebody. Like, having that stuff is always, to me, that's better than having money, because having a financial backer is great, but like being of value to someone else, you can't put a price tag on
and it's
that.
more sustainable too, because more opportunities will come because of it, right? And I'm trying to think of like some of our other videos, because we go way back. The era that I'm talking about is 2012, right?
Yeah.
This is like me like just getting, like just learning about everything, Like the first studio I ever stepped in was your studio.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, we recorded our entire first project with you.
Yeah.
Like and I wasn't even, which is even crazier, is I wasn't even really producing yet. Like
That's right.
It was like a bunch of YouTube beats, and there was a couple of mine that were on that project, but learning studio etiquette, like understanding that songs need to be mixed, like understanding this whole process, I basically learned from working with you.
Yeah, it was a great, I mean, honestly, I could say the same thing, that I learned a lot too, as that was one of my first experiences as being a business owner, letting you guys use the space. And remember the first couple weeks, the air condition wasn't set up yet. It was 110 degrees in there,
dude.
That was one of those moments of like, whoa, how bad do we want it? You know what I mean? Are we going to do it? Like, hey guys, I'm definitely not going to kill you with charging you, because we're all sweating here. Like, let's just get this done though, because I think we all knew we were working on something that was valuable to us.
Yeah.
Whether that was the music, the relationships, like there was something really special happening in that studio, even when it was 110 degrees.
Yeah, dude. I'm an archive king. Like, I have everything that I've like ever shot ever. So like, I have all those like videos of like us in the studio like back in 2012, which is like insane to look back on, and like, knowing that, all of us have like kept, like, you and me like have kept it up and like really pushed the ball down the field, and like we're still here
Yeah.
over a decade later. It's
Yeah.
like crazy to think that.
It is. It's cool to it's really awesome to me though, because you guys were kids. Like I was more or less. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, so I was like worried about my business. I'm starting a family, this and that. But like to see you guys so hungry and so adamant about getting this stuff done, and like knowing that you're going to become something. That was so powerful for me to witness, like, you know, like having that much belief in yourself. Because at times I don't have that. I lack that in a lot of instances. And you guys were just like, oh, we're doing this. We love this. This is great. I don't care if people don't like, you know, I remember you guys shot that video in the back of that old pickup truck. Like it was just like you were doing your own thing, doing whatever you wanted to do. And you guys found a way to make it happen.
Yeah,
awesome.
I want to share one more memory before I pivot on to like the next subject. But like, you know, at that time, like we were taking the train up to see you. Neither of us could drive, just to put that in perspective.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, you would come around, like pick us up at the train station. We'd hit the Cumberlands, and then we'd get Arizonas, and then we'd be in the studio just locked in. And we did like a full. It's not even like I'm pretty sure
it was
that
8-hour days. Yeah, usually
full days and like. A decent like it was like a long album. It wasn't
was
like
a full length project.
It was like almost like
say.
I feel like it might have been like 20 songs, dude. Like it was a long project. So
I want to say it was somewhere between like 16 and 20. It was probably like the 18 mark because there's a lot of tracks. I got to go in my archives now and go search for the original sessions.
Do you know that I don't have I haven't heard that album.
Really?
I don't have a copy of it, dude. Maybe I do in my drive, but if you sent me
I'm
a
gonna
copy,
have to dig and I'll find it.
Bro, I'd be so geeked for it. Like there are people on the internet too from like very few, not many, but there are a few that like, because it's not, we took it as like, you know, you rebrand and grow, like,
it makes sense.
You know, we took down our first project, you know what I mean? But, you know, so I haven't heard it. I'd be curious to hear it, but I know that there's a skit of me on there. I know there's a skit of you on there.
Dude, there's some funny stuff. There's some good stuff on there. I'm going to send it to you, definitely.
Yeah.
I need to go re-listen to it just because of that. It's been that long.
Yeah, and I'd just be curious, like, sometimes, even just, like, some of the content, like, what was going on, like, what was being said in some of those songs.
What were we talking about? And
yeah. But, yeah, no, Dan, I want to talk to you, too, and, like, I want to talk to you about, like, some of your music projects, too, because you have a ton of projects out there, dude.
I tried to make a poster last week of I don't know why I got this idea. I wanted to make something for my studio that's all my album artwork, like on 124 by 36.
That's a dope idea.
Dropping them in there, and then I'm like, all right, I got to make this room. And I was like, shit, there's a lot of them. I don't know how to fit this. I think I'm on my 20th project as D Lector, and there's been other ones that didn't come out. There's other under knowledge, just like so. Yeah, I got a catalog, that's for sure.
When did you drop your first project?
My first album, like I pressed up 1,000 CDs myself and stuff. You're talking 2004.
Okay.
And that was the Knowledge Deal or No Deal album.
Okay. I think I actually have a copy of Deal or No Deal.
You probably do.
Dude.
It was like an old school how music was done more or less back then. Some original songs, some like mixtapey kind of things of like remixing popular beats. Full length project though, and I did it all myself and sold it out of my trunk, you know, like the typical old school story.
Yeah, but that was a game that you put even us onto back in the day because we ended up getting that CD that we worked on together printed, and we were hustling them for $5, and that's probably something that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have your guidance on that, you know? So that was our first time even seeing, you know, like you always spend money on music, but like to make money on music, especially...
that's the hard part, and that's the beautiful part. Like if I can actually get some return on this investment, this is great, because a lot of music... As musicians and artists and people in the game know, it's a lot of coming out of your pocket and not a lot going back in most times. You know, you're investing into something that you hope will come back.
Yeah, it's really the name of the game too, like as you said, and it's just like, you know, I was talking with Webby recently, and when I was talking to him, like, because I'm doing this 50 states project, very expensive for me, relatively. Everything's relative, so it's expensive for me. But he's just like, dude, he's like, you're making the legacy play. You know what I mean? Like, that project is going to last forever. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, that makes me feel way better about seeing my bank account dwindle into submission.
About all these outgoing payments and not many incoming.
So I was like, but yeah, no, there are things like that that I think is important. So you drop your first project, 2004 as Knowledge.
Yep.
And then how many are you drop? When do you transition to Danimal Lector?
That's a good question, actually. I want to say it was somewhere like 06 to 08 when I started tinkering with the new name and like trying to rebrand, because Knowledge was from high school. There was other artists out with the name like that were popping up online. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where I knew I needed to change it if I wanted to become my own thing, especially if you searched something. I wanted to just
It's a hard word to search off because it has, like, you'd probably just get Webster's Dictionary.
You get a bunch of random stuff. So I was like, this isn't helping my searchability on the internet, which is weird to think about that early on.
No, I was going to say you were way ahead of your game.
Trying, you know. So I was like, what could I do? My name's Daniel Allen, so Daniel Allen Poe was like an idea playing off of that. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I like that. It sounds too poetic. And I was a meathead always, so my cousin started calling me Danimal at the gym. Because I was like lifting, he's like, "You're not an animal, you're a Danimal." So I thought it was hilarious. Like, all right, and that was, I'm pretty sure that's pre-Danimal yogurts too.
Oh yeah, dude.
So it wasn't like, oh, you named yourself after a yogurt. It was like just like a cool thing.
Yeah.
But so I did the rebrand. I want to say around 06 to 08, and on Webby's, what was that? Not
Webster's
Injure
Lab?
You, maybe. I think it was.
Okay, that's even older.
I said something about Danimal Lector, like introducing, like, and that was like the first time I said that name like on a record. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna run with this from now on.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, dude. And then when I was working with you originally, I think you were working on, that was like, actually it was Growing Pains era into Bars Attack, into Hookahs and Machetes.
Hookahs and Machetes, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the era, like, and I want to talk to you about some of the features on those projects too, because, I mean, I just remember, like, we'd come to a new session, you'd be like, got this Crooked Eye verse.
Yeah.
Jaron Benton, Gmo Ski,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like, you'd always have, like, a new verse of like a dope artist that you were like doing the song. And then the project, Bars Attack was Statik, right? Statik, yeah, right? So like, I mean, that's like, not only are we like learning a lot just from being in the studio with you, but like you're putting us on the game on like, that there's a world.
There's a whole nother world. Yeah, like you can get the people that you listen to, the people you love, the people you sometimes idolize, you can maybe get them on your album, you know?
Yeah. How did it feel when you started getting like these features like a Crooked Eye?
It's super, it lets you know, like, I have imposter syndrome to the fullest. Like, I have the time, like, I don't know if am I good at this? Why do I do this just for no reason? You know, like, having someone of that caliber, like, dude, you're dope. Like, this is great. Yeah, I want to do this. That's the best feeling you can get besides, you know, fathering children. You know what I mean?
I want to talk to you about that too in a little bit.
It's like, it's as far as like my career goes and like the thing that I put a lot of effort into, it lets me know that it's not for nothing. You know, like people appreciate it and they like what I do. It might not be as many people as I want that hear it, but having that respect from my peers, it will actually, I mean, I consider them, you know, me below them, but like having them give me the thumbs up is awesome.
Yeah, getting a cosign from like anybody that's like in your industry, especially like when you're trying to make your way in. And, you know, I want to talk to you a little bit about success, because like success to me is like, it's so different depending on the person you ask, right?
Absolutely.
What's success to you?
It has changed over the years because, as I said, the way I looked at myself, I didn't feel successful for a lot of years because I wasn't monetizing my music to the fullest potential. I didn't get the amount of views that I thought I should. None of that stuff. I didn't sell the amount of merch I thought, the ticket sales. None of that stuff was ever anything that really moved me, and it made me feel like, wow, I made it. But when I think now that I have my own recording studio that I run and operate, I work from home, I'm kind of, even at the job that I work for, like I am my own department, like having all this freedom to operate and make art for a living is like, that is the definition of success, to be able to be my own creative person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, kind of more or less do what I want. It's like, it's extremely empowering. So that, to me, I now feel like, yeah, I made it, you know?
Yeah, because success to me too, it's just like, you nailed on the head, like having that freedom, you know? Me personally, just like happiness, that's where I kind of align it with, because all the other stuff that you mentioned prior, can't really control that. No. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's stuff that you can do to like optimize and like try to get like the best results. But at the end of the day, like if you determine your happiness off of it, it's kind of, it's almost, I don't want to say it's a recipe for disaster, but you're gonna be
it's a slippery slope though,
you're more likely to let down.
The more you're pushed, the more you're concentrating, which I found myself doing this at a time, which the more you concentrate on just those things that you really can't control, trying to get more people to listen and being really butthurt about it not happening, like it affects the music and the art form. It's like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this just to check boxes? Like, ooh, I got 1 million views on this song. Ooh, I did this. Or am I doing this because this is my therapy? And this, I have to remind myself at times why I started doing this.
My mom says that to me. I was going to just say that pretty much exact statement where she's like, you know, if there's a moment where I'm like feeling down, feeling doubt, feeling, you know, frustrated, just remember why I started, bring it back to your roots and just kind of build from there. Because if you know what I mean? Music is a tough business, dude. It is.
Especially to try to make a living off of, you know what I mean? It's very difficult. So to me, my thing is, my new thing, I say, what would 16-year-old Dan think of this? Like when I get something small, to me, which is small now in retrospect, like doing a song with Apathy, like someone I idolized growing up, having a song with him now, it's like, cool, I did it. But I'm like, what would 16-year-old you think?
He'd be out of his mind.
Screaming, crying, laughing, throwing, hysterical. Like it would be every emotion you could feel. Like, I can't believe this happened. Having a song with people connected to like Eminem's roster, like those people giving me the green light, like, you're good. Like that stuff, 16-year-old me wouldn't probably believe it, you know? So that is what I try to gauge my success on now. Like,
yeah, and it's just like I said, music is like so cutthroat, is so hard. And like you mentioned, like even for the people that are quote unquote doing it like to the next level, I guarantee that it probably looks better on the outside than what's actually happening. Just because I know, because I've been in it.
You've seen a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Oh yeah, like, you know, it might look great, but it's all great until you find out like what these royalties like equate to. You know what I mean? I want to make a video. I was like thinking about this the other day where it's like streaming my favorite artist 200 times to support them, realizing they only got 70 cents. Like,
it's so true. It's so true though, man. I mean, grateful for those people that do stream, but what you get out of it is so insignificant unless you have a real lot of people doing it. And even still, if you're on a label, then they're taking cuts. So there's so many things that can go into it if you're not a full independent, you know, artist.
I feel like you have to be like a full independent artist. And I know there's obviously label artists that like thrive and do well, but it's like, I just don't think the pie is as big as people think it is. You know what I mean?
And
it's
especially
like,
when they start splitting up, there's
that's
a lot.
What I'm saying.
You know, like you're getting the smallest piece. And everyone else at the table is getting fed first, too. You know, you're sitting there at Thanksgiving while everybody's stuffing their face, and you get the little tiny Tim plate at the end. Like, and most people, that plate is pretty substantial if you look at a giant artist. Like, they're getting paid great money. But how many artists are on the level of a Drake,
few and far, like so
few.
Like
these huge people that are making crazy substantial money. And also, they have big endorsements. There's more than just music.
Yeah,
you know?
and I'd imagine, like, you know, I'm pretty confident, but like I'm sure they do well off streaming, but there's things like brand deals they have. There's, you know, appearances that they make on, like, most of like an artist's money isn't necessarily made from their streaming. I mean, you know what a big thing is? Touring. Touring is like a really big one for artists. But I want to talk to you about that. You know, being an independent artist, like what's been something that has been huge for you in your career and, you know, been a staple of like you being able to like keep pushing the ball down the field?
Man, honestly, my just hunger and drive I just love rapping. There's something wrong with me, man. Like I've tried, I can't stop. Like it's such an integral part of me, and I don't know if it's because I started young and used it as a way, like I call it my therapy. And there's such a tie between like my feelings, my thoughts, and making them rhyme in syncopated fashion over some kind of cool, funky beat. Like it's so part of who I am that it's almost like I don't know who I would be without it, which is weird because like it's such a huge part of my personality that without it, I would almost feel like I'm a whole different person. So the main thing that keeps me going is just the love for it and the fact that like a lot of times it's a therapeutic element of like I need to get some stuff off my chest and I need to write it down instead of like internalizing because, you know, that's sort of how I historically have dealt with my problems, just bottle them up and push them down. So it's like, no, let me get this out of me. And those, I made a song in the process. Cool. Maybe someone could relate to my angst, my anger, my pain. And if not, at least it's no longer bottled up, you know?
Yeah, and I think you kind of nailed it on the head because when you start talking about, you know, your stories, you know, how you're feeling on things, you'd be surprised at how many people can relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that you've got messages over the years of just people where it's like, yo, this song really helped me out.
Yeah, though actually it's fun. I'm glad you brought that up because there's a few moments where there was not a lot of people. There was maybe a handful of people at times sent me messages on Facebook and or whatever platforms 10 years ago. Like, this song kept me from killing myself. That is like the most powerful thing someone can say to you. Like me getting through what I was going through and them hearing it in the song allowed them to think that I'm just gonna keep pushing. I'm not gonna do this today. Like that is, it's hard to put it into words. I'm kind of giving myself goosebumps, but that's a big reason why I do it, because get it off my chest, but also if I can help someone else out in the process, that's a beautiful thing, you know?
I think people underestimate how powerful music is too. And, you know, like I said, when you're sharing your story and people relate to it, it's like, you know, if they're at a moment where they're like, everything's falling apart, I feel doomed, you know, listening to you and just being like, yo, I dealt with this and I'm still here, you know, it's kind of like a beam of light for them where it's like, okay, Danimal did this, like, I can too.
Yeah, well, that's the messed up part is suicide is a permanent solution to possibly a temporary problem, you know?
Yeah.
I can't say I haven't thought about killing myself in the past, and that's why, I've talked about it on songs. Like, I've been at that point where I'm like, I don't know, not anytime recently, but, like, you know, growing up as a kid, like, I don't know what value I add to the world. And I know what it's like to sit in those shoes. So, like, sometimes to make a song like that and have other people realize, oh, other people go through this, and they get through it. Like, there's a light at the other side. That's a beautiful thing to be able to, you know, maybe walk somebody off that ledge and not even know you're doing so too. Like I didn't play them the song, and they found the song, they listened to the song, and then messaged me afterwards. That's crazy to me, you know?
Yeah. When you find yourself at those moments where your head's in a dark space, like, have you found things that help you get out of that mindset?
Recently, yes. I was always, it's funny because we haven't really hung out too much in the recent years. I've changed my spiritual belief system. I no longer am like a full-blown like atheist. Nothing. I don't believe in anything. We're all here for no reason. Like
that's the Danimal I met.
I went through a period of my life where I made a lot of music like that. Like there's nothing. You know, we're here for no reason. This is pointless, and I don't subscribe to that anymore. And I've had a lot of things happen to me to make me have these aha moments. But yeah, so I mean, that's a great thing too about having a catalog of music. You can go and listen to some of my older songs and listen to newer ones. Like, oh wow, there's tremendous growth there. You know, you can listen to me growing up over the course of 10, 12, 15 years, and I think that's a beautiful part of music too.
No, it is, because you can see your perspective back then and just like as you said, see your growth and, you know, how your mindset changed. And the thing is, I think there's a misconception where, like, you know, when people put their thoughts out into the universe, right? I think they feel like you need to be that person forever. But the truth of the matter is people grow. People's opinions change all the time. Like, you know, and I think that's just a part of life too. So it would make sense that people would see that within your music.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of aha moments. Would you be willing to share any of those moments that, like...
I had one that I can't explain, and I don't know. I mean, this is, mind you, when I'm in a place of like, I don't really believe in anything. I don't know, whatever. I was taking a shower and I had a lot of questions. I was asking like God or whoever, like I need something, I need help, I need a sign, I need something. And I thought I saw someone in my house, like through the shower curtain, walk by, and I freaked out, opened it, closed it, no one's there, whatever. I showered for maybe another minute more before I was like, I gotta get out. I gotta make sure no one's in my house. I get out the shower, and on my mirror was written 111. It looked like someone with their finger wrote it. And it wasn't, I didn't have I don't even know if I had Eric at the time. This was years and years ago. No one was home. I was by myself. I have no way to explain it. All I know is I started looking into numerology, and I was getting more into like changing my belief system. And that moment brought me down a rabbit hole of reading like 30 books, self-help kind of stuff, some Buddhism things, Taoism. Like I started going down like these cool religious rabbit holes. Like I don't subscribe to any of them, but I like cherry picking ideas from each of them. And that was one of those moments where I was like, okay, I feel like everything is connected, and there's there's something there. I don't know definitively. I can't put an X on it, but that changed my outlook on life, the universe, however you want to look at it, and it was crazy. I still don't know how to explain. I have a picture of it too that I don't know what to do with, but I was gonna make it my album work, like cover art. It's a creepy mirror in my house, and it just had these 3 in the fog written 111.
Dude,
that's why I named my record label 111 Records.
That makes sense, dude. Yeah, because, I mean, to me, you going down that rabbit hole ended up being a good thing because, I mean, a change in perspective, especially when, you know, if you're at a place where you're just dark mindset where it's like
doom and gloom, you know?
Yeah, and it's like it's not a healthy place to be constantly, dude. I really appreciate you sharing that with me too because you know, when I bring Dan on, I'm like, let's talk music, but to like, you know,
and I like to be able to talk about these things because it's some things are hard to get all across in a song. You can't really tell that. I mean, you could, but it would take a whole verse,
and it'd be like melodic,
it'd be really
too,
weird,
like
So it's like, so there's times where it's like I would like to get an opportunity to talk about the things that I've experienced that changed my outlook because, like I said, I did go from believing in nothing to now at least having some sort of like belief system, like we're all connected, one feeling of oneness, you know, with other things and even with strangers. Like I found myself just like looking at other elements in the world, like, dude, we're all just basically small cells inside of this giant, like the planet could be the body and we are all cells inside of it. So like me hating this person,
kind of like the Horton Hears a Who kind of.
Yeah, it's like it's very strange for me to have such like anger and hatred towards things for almost no reason. I don't know why I was so mad. I don't, you know what I mean? Maybe there's a lot more soul searching to do there, but like, what am I so bent out of shape about? You know what I mean? Like, so I challenged myself. I said, let's just try to be positive and see what happens. It was funny. I was literally a joke. I was like, I'm just going to be positive for the next 60 days and see what happens. And then it's just like, oh, life was way better.
It felt like you're walking with like a little pep in your
Dude,
step.
it's like life got better. Wow, look at that. Like I changed my outlook. If you expect bad things to happen all the time, they will. It will find you.
I think that's super real. And like sometimes some of my circle will clown me on it, but I'm always flipping a negative situation into a positive where to the point where it's like, I'm always the guy where it's like, well, at least this didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like,
my famous saying is, it could always be worse.
That's why I had this conversation with my girlfriend over the weekend. She did an event, so she has a candle business, but she did an event, and like she did good at the event, but not like what she expected. And I was like, could have been worse. She's like, yeah, but like just let me feel my feelings right now.
Yeah. I know that's the bad part too, because like I did get to a point where I was almost too bubbly, preachy, positive, like to other people, and everything was kind of going decent enough to me where there was no real big setbacks that I can tell somebody, oh yeah, you know, it'll get better. Things like it's easy to give that advice when everything's going great in your life.
Yeah.
When things start crumbling, it's like, well, let's see if you have that same perspective. You know, like let's see if you're still Mr. Positivity, and it's a lot harder to keep it during those moments, but it's also far more important to try to at least have, I call myself Mr. Silver Lining. I always try to find some kind of something in even the negative situations because there's nothing we can do. It's here. We're here.
That's how you deal with it.
It's how you deal with it. It's all it comes down to.
Have you had a negative moment recently that you had to like deal with that?
Oh, God, dude. I mean, I don't know how much I want to go into it, but yeah, I mean, I lost my mother and my brother 13 days apart, 6 months, and not even 6 months ago. I'm literally,
sorry, dude.
Yeah, I'm down to like half my family. That has been the test, and that is where I'm at now of trying to see how strong I am, and not just to be strong, because people like to just tell you, oh, you're so strong, like that's a great attribute, but I've never been so weak, you know, and been okay with it because it's okay to not always be okay. And I'm trying to navigate now through completely uncharted waters of feelings, and I mean, it's literally hard to put into words, which is why I've been working on the new album, and that's almost not all it's about, but I mean, it's a huge portion, driving factor behind the new music is like explaining and giving context to like my life the last year or so. So I mean, now, yeah, this is the test, Mike. We're gonna see what version of Dan is birthed from
everything that's been happening. Yeah, so I mean, with the new music, so that's been like a huge everything for the music. Like, what can we expect from that album? I'm jokingly saying it's like my magnum opus. I don't know how much music I got left after it. Not like I said, I love to rap and make words rhyme. I love to produce, play instruments, the whole nine. But as far as like songwriting, I've never been so confident about songs, except for maybe like 10, 15 years ago when I was like younger and had way more pep in my step and like just almost like naivete to me. Yeah,
you know,
when you're
like,
young though, like I feel this way about myself, so I'll say it. Like when I was younger, I was the shit until you get humbled.
But that's what I'm saying.
You see reality.
So once life starts humbling you, like now it's a little harder to have those same like, oh, I'm great. It's like, well, you're 39 years old and you're still working on rap and on a young man's. Like there's so many things that you can turn them against yourself, you know?
Yeah.
But the new songs, the new music it's extremely powerful. I've got a couple songs. I have one song. I'll send you some of them so you could.
I would love to check it out, dude.
It's a 4-minute-ish song, and it's a story, and it explains the moments leading up to those 13 days, and it's the worst days of my life. It's called, and it's incredible. I want to do something big with it. Eventually, maybe like shoot my own short film because it would really pair well with it. But yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm making now is just super therapeutic. But also, I feel like if there's ever a point where somebody, like we were talking about, can relate to these things, I mean, people experience loss every single day. I mean, these concepts I'm talking about, they're not new, you know? It's just new to me to experience that on this level. So these songs are going to, they're taking a lot out of me to get them done, but it's been like a weight lifted off my chest, writing these things down, recording them. And now my kids listen to them and they know the words. How else would you know what I experienced unless you were told, right?
Talk about it, yeah.
So they can hear the song and say, "Oh wow, I know what you went through," and they can't get it now. They're young, but when they grow up, they'll be able to. You know?
I still think it has an impact even at their younger age too, because I'm like somebody who believes like just it basically goes into how you're raising them. You know what I mean? Where it's like. Everything you do now is going to trickle down into what they when they get a full grasp of things. And dude, I remember, when you had your kid, dude, that was during the kind of the
that was
era.
The beginning, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, now that you've been a dad for quite some bit, dude, how's it feeling being a dad, and it's family life, even just overall, dude?
I mean, it's the best job I've ever had. It's the main thing that drives me to be a good husband and to be a good father and role model, which is sometimes hard when you're dealing with a 12-year track record of saying crazy stuff on songs that now my son likes to listen to. It's like, hey, look, we're gonna listen to Heads in My Book Bag, Dad. It's like, all right, crap. Like my son's friends are listening to my music. It's kind of funny. It's really weird how the dynamic has changed. And now, I got to go meet people's parents. Like, yeah, I'm Eric's dad. Hope they're not listening to Jaron Benton because of me.
Dude, Jaron sent me a verse the other day that is just absolutely gas. He's so good, dude.
I got to actually, maybe we could help bridge that gap because I haven't talked to him in years. I want to get him on the new. I want to get him on the new album. I have some stuff like just waiting. Cause I got Gmo on it. I'm trying to go full circle and like go back to the roots.
I'm happy to help wherever I can.
Yeah. But also like the kid stuff, like I don't want to gloss over it because it's my driving force in life. Like it's the one thing that can always get me out of bed, always make me feel good. Like my daughter is a little gymnastic freak. She's jacked out of her mind. Dude, I'll send you videos and pictures of her doing her, like she was winning competitions. She wants to be in the Olympics. Seeing them have dreams, passions, and things that they're going after. My son's into streaming now, wanting to do video game stuff. Like it's absolutely incredible. It's like having little interns almost. Like, like you guys are cool. You're doing this, I'm going to help somehow facilitate that. Like my son, I bought him turntables and a mixer, like start playing with that. My daughter, she's got literal gymnastic beams and stuff in my house, like taking up half the living room most days. Like I love pouring into that because that's what my parents did for me. Different scale, different times, but like they never made me feel like I shouldn't be doing the thing that I was most passionate about.
Which is a huge blessing.
Your parents
same way. Yeah, dude.
Like that's so important. And that's one thing that I got to just keep pushing is like find what you love and do that. Like don't worry about what you're going to do when you grow up as far as how you're going to make money. Find out what you like to do and do it till it kills you.
Yeah, because I've said this before too. You just got to find your passion and then the money will come. You just got to hammer the same nail and just like really make it happen, because if you believe in it for yourself, it can happen. You just gotta figure it out.
Yeah, that's it. It really comes down to just having the drive, the willpower, and the tenacity to not stop or not get in your own way sometimes too.
That's so real. Can you talk on that a little bit of just getting in your own way?
Yeah, because I'm the definition poster boy of it. Like overthinking, overanalyzing, being too much of a critic, trying to perfect things too much. I like being a perfectionist, but then there's like now the new songs I'm working on are so near and dear to me. I've been wanting to release one of them for almost 6 weeks now, and I'm just like, oh, I'm checking the mix every day. I'm lowered the kick by half a decibel. I changed the EQ on the snare. I don't know what it is, but it's like, just kick it out already. Get it out the nest, like see if it's got wings, see if it's gonna fly.
It's important to do that, dude. Because, yeah, especially with music, dog. It's like, because you can spend so much time on the record that you think is the one, and then the record you spend no time on, you drop it, that one goes crazy. It's like, okay, what are we doing here?
That's always how it is too. So like that's why I'm at a point now where I'm trying to. It is very meaningful to me, so I don't want to like brush through it, but I also don't want to take an absurd amount of time like to do the thing that I know should already be like it's good, it's done. Could it be better? Everything could always be better, But like you also kind of wanted to live like and capture the moment too.
Yes.
I'm glad you touched on that because I was going to re-record one of the verses because there's a point where I'm like half, not crying, but you're getting like choked up when I'm recording it, but that's such an important element to the song.
It's real.
Like to me, it bothers me a little bit because I'm like, oh, I'm like showing my emotions, whatever. Maybe I want to change that. I'm like, no, don't. That is, if you do this song, like that is an integral part of it, of you having those emotions and dealing. You're literally going through it right now when you're recording it. Like there's nothing more powerful than that. Like talk about getting it off your chest. I mean, literally that this song is the embodiment of it. So now I just got to get home, and maybe after this podcast, I'm going to wrap up this song and just send it to DistroKid. Like, let's go.
Yeah, dude. And, like, I think it's a good thing, though, too, that, like, you are keeping the original take, too. Because even it, like, because, one, perfection doesn't exist, right?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you might, like, because you're going to overthink it, but, like, capturing a moment, like, that's a beautiful thing about, like, any art that you create. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, like, regardless of what situation, but, in that situation.
There's classic records too. I'm rock and roll stuff. You're talking over the past 50 years where if you've ever listened to, I like to watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff, interviews like, oh yeah, this guitar solo, like if you really listen, you can hear that the cut here because we couldn't get it perfect. But it's a song that people play 50 years later and you're going to tell me it's not perfect. Like perfect is subjective as hell too.
Oh, dude. And it doesn't like, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because you do want to make sure that things are quality enough and you're happy with it, right? But at the same time, like from an artist perspective, the stuff that you're worried about, the things that you're listening to, the average person has no idea what the heck you're saying. They're like, it either sounds good or it doesn't.
Exactly. That's why I've been using my kids as the barometer lately, like I said, with the few songs. And I've got this song called Tough Guy, and my daughter like knows all the words to it now. She's been walking around singing it. And the gist of it, it's hard to be the tough guy all the time. It's hard to be the one that never cries. Hard to be the one that doesn't show emotion. Like saying like it's hard to be my old self, to try to always be strong, tough, stoic. Like no one is that. But these songs, I'm using my children as like the meter, and they're loving them. And I'm like, they do like some of my songs, but to be honest, the new ones they've been like going crazy about. I'm like, that's probably a good sign because I'm not overthinking necessarily. Maybe the mix, but the words, it's just me, It's not, I have to make the craziest triple entendre about X, Y, and Z, or this is a trending topic I should talk about. It's like, no, these are just my feelings. This is what I'm going through, and it's as real as it gets. And that's, to me, like I said, why I started music in the first place. So,
what advice would you have to other artists out there that are trying to get into it right now?
Just do it. Don't be the perfectionist at the beginning, you can always have that wanting the best, the end product, obviously, but just use your cell phone, record on one of those apps like rap, freestyle, go rip off YouTube beats, industry beat. Like I'm that guy that will just say, go do it and then get better at it. Put your 10,000 hours in, become a master, if that's what you want to do. And if not, then you're going to get your feet wet and realize this ain't for me. You know what I mean? But there's no reason to go buy $15,000 worth of studio equipment to find out this isn't really for me, or maybe I should just go use someone else's studio. Like for me, it was get a turntable, cool, this is fun. Get a drum machine, ooh, I like this. Microphone, computer, like you gradually start playing with stuff and like, okay, I like this. This is something I could spend my time on. So my biggest thing would be just just do it.
Yeah, no, starting is honestly the hardest part because people will make excuses left and right. You know what I mean? And like technology from when I started, I know from when you started, like, 2004, you couldn't just take the video on the phone and post, like that wasn't an option. You know what I mean? So now with the way technology is advanced, you could get started today.
Yeah, you shouldn't have an excuse in 2024 because we had tape recorders. I was recording on literal cassette tapes with a 4-track. You could only have 4 tracks. On your phone now, you can have unlimited everything. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just, there's so much cool stuff at your fingertips that you'd be silly not to just go crazy with all of it. Like, just try it all. Like, I'm just about to start now trying to work that Blender app to do like 3D animation.
That's really dope.
Because I do graphic stuff, so I'm trying to. I'm thinking like, okay, just like starting to make beats, starting to rap. Okay, that maybe DJing, like all these things are in the same vein. Now it's like graphic design. Started dabbling with animation. Now it's like CGI, like that kind of stuff. That could be cool.
But that's the thing too, like, and this brings me to a very important like point because if you're going to be an independent artist, you better learn some other skills.
You better not be a one-trick pony.
Yeah, because, being able to do your own cover arts, like, that's huge, dude. You've done all of your cover arts.
Yeah, I've done, up until, I didn't do some of the early ones, but, up for the past 6 years at least, I've done all of them. And I was even doing some for, like, Atlantic Records for a while, so I did, like, some NBA Youngboy stuff. I did some stuff for, like, Rico Nasty and Quando Rondo and a bunch of people that, like, it helped me, like, build the skill set too to also be under the scrutiny of a record label. Like, hey, we need this in like 90 minutes. Like, let's see what I could do.
Yeah.
And to put yourself through that, you'll grow real quick. I call it like I didn't go to college for any of the graphic stuff. I just taught myself. I call it just trial by fire. Like, let me just see what happens.
Yeah, and you need to because. Like being an independent, like this stuff is expensive, right? So the more that you can offset yourself and figure out on your own, you're just gonna it's gonna be better for you in the long run. One, because you're not gonna have to rely on anybody. Like, you need to like if you want to drop a song today, I know that you could produce the song, record the song, mix the song, master the song, do the cover art, upload it today, and you'd be good.
That's it, and that's why I became this like
the Danimal
machine because it's like I couldn't rely on and talking with your buddy, like I couldn't have work with people that don't have the same work ethic as me. So if it's like you're only doing the cover art and you need 5 days to do it, like I just made the beat, recorded the song, did all this stuff, and like, what do you mean you can't? All right, let me figure it out. I got it. Don't even worry about it.
And it's a cool thing for yourself to. Like, oh, I just did that. I can do that. I can make a dope-ass song, dope-ass, and just get it out there. And a lot of the time, like, those are the ones that, like, go because the one that you spend overthinking, like, the more and more you wait to drop something, the bigger the expectation becomes, right? Because you're just like, I've had this, like, this is...
Yeah.
But, like, if you just get it out there and it goes, then it's like, yo, I didn't spend that much time on it and it's going crazy for me. And then on to the next thing. You know?
And it's funny, too, because this album is the third installment of... It's only the third album where I've done every beat production. I've produced everything, mixed everything. All the other projects have other people's... fingerprints on them. But the cover art, all of those aspects are me. And I like being able to say that. Like, someone's like, oh, that's a cool album. It's like, I made everything on that. I designed this cover. Every single aspect on that was me. Like, it's cool. And not a lot of artists could say that.
Oh, yeah, I can't say that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of artists that can't move without, like, a full team. That's why I'm trying to give you your flowers on that,
I appreciate
too. Where
that.
it's like, it's hard to do that too. Like, I love myself as a producer. I do not love myself as an engineer, dog. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a skill that I haven't dabbled or like sharpened enough yet. So I have to outsource it. But would my music come out a lot faster if it was a skill that I had? For sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, then there's also the battle of like, I don't think I've ever spread myself too thin, but I also am someone who does like, it's like my video stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, you just got to dabble in a bunch of different things. That's basically it, because being an artist can't stop at just being an artist.
No, I mean, unless you are one of those 5 to 10 artists of a lifetime that comes around, and you know what I mean? It's oh wow, yeah, you're incredible. You don't need to do anything. Just go in the booth and sing or rap or whatever. We'll do everything else. The odds of that being you, I don't hate to sound like this, but it's just, let's be real. You know what I mean? You're better, and you're going to be a better person, a better artist, musician, creator, if you can kind of be versed in some of these things. And also, then you know what to expect. If the graphic designer says it takes 2 weeks to get you a cover, you're like, screw you, dude. I'll do it tonight. You know, like
and I think it goes back to even communication, because I think the better you are at communicating within this industry, the more you'll accomplish, because being able to communicate to a video guy, it's like, hey, like, you know, can we make this shot like a little wider? Can we do like, you know what I mean? Being able to like understand depth of field, or like with mixing and stuff where it's like, hey, can we add reverb? You know what I mean?
Just
like
knowing at least a little bit to like get yourself around so you're not just lost and relying on other people's knowledge. Because to me, that feels kind of weird. Like, I want to be in the driver's seat. This is my album. This is my song, my baby, whatever it is. Like, I don't necessarily I want to rely on someone else's input 100%. You know what I mean? Like, at least that's how I've created, because that's how I've been doing it for so long. But yeah, it's always good to know more. I mean, it's never a bad thing to have knowledge in a category, you know?
Yeah, kind of go back to your roots, being knowledge, dude.
Which is why I kind of had that name, because I was like, smart kid in school that didn't apply himself. But like, if there was something I wanted to learn, I'm gonna go gung-ho down the rabbit hole and figure it out. Like, with music, recording, engineering, DJing, producing, and then graphic design, like animation. Anything I really want to do, I can do. Unfortunately, my wife knows this too, so she's like, you want to learn how to paint cabinets? You want to learn how to...
That's actually so funny.
You want to learn some landscaping?
It was like, I already got the video pulled up.
Yeah, she's like, you know, TikTok got some crazy videos these days. You can learn a lot.
That's so funny, dude.
But it's a good thing to be versed in a lot of different areas. And
what's one of your proudest moments musically?
The Bars Attack one I like a lot because it had Statik Selektah on there, and that was like a huge moment of like working with somebody that I was like, I thought was unreachable almost, you know? Like, that was really cool. And then getting those features and stuff. But I really do appreciate all of the live performances, like the Toads Play stuff with Webby back, like the Black Friday shows.
I think I did one of them with you. I remember doing a show with you. I know Semi was there.
Yep.
And I remember we left the show after and I knocked out on your couch.
Yes. Because, like, to me, those moments, it was going back to what I was saying, like, it's hard to get people to buy tickets. It's hard to get people to go to shows. It's hard to get people to download your songs, all this stuff. Webby was he always helped me out. However you want to cut the cake, you know, like, he brought me on a lot of those shows, and that was the biggest opportunities I've had to perform in front of a lot of people. And being on his albums and stuff, the people knew my words. Like, that is probably the biggest moment when I first did the Roger That verse, and like the people performed the first couple lines for me first. I'm pretty sure if I pull up the footage, you can see my face. I was like, wait, they know like this song? Like, what the? Like,
dude.
It was like such a shock and a beautiful moment to me. That like, oh, okay, cool. Like, they do like me. It was a pat on the back. Like, yeah, maybe you're not just doing this for no reason. Maybe you are good. Like I said, that imposter syndrome thing really...
It's tricky, too, because, you know, I mean, you're someone who I look at who's incredibly good at their craft. You know what I mean? But, like, you know, part of you has to, like, I am good at my craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then do your thing.
But it's hard to do that and then not come across sometimes like, oh, well, this guy's just full of himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's like it's a slippery slope of like, well, no, I am confident that I could do this stuff. But I'm not saying you're gonna like it necessarily. You know, like, especially with rap being so subjective.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, being an artist in some capacity, I still think this true. Like, and I'll say it, like, there's an element of being a narcissist being an artist, where it's like you have to, like, or at least just have like that, like, confidence to like, yo, I'm really that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I mean, really, and that a lot of rap is braggadocious. I'm that dude. You know what I mean?
Because the thing is, how are you going to convince other people that you're that dude
if you're not? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, which is always that's been something that comes back to me. It's like, man, if you just were more confident about it, but it's like, I know it's tough. It's easy to just say, like, but it's like you're not the one performing. You ever go out and perform in front of 15 people, like? That's not a good feeling.
Yeah, but
you know?
To me, that's all part of the grind, you know? And it's like, I really think, because I've thought about doing a small, like, Mike Squires tour, and I'm sure, depending on where I go, there's going to be some of those 15 people show.
It happens.
But it happens, and to me, I look forward to them, though, because, like, one, you have to start somewhere, dude. I'm a big at looking at my old stuff and being like, yo, we came a long way from there. But the idea of, like, just starting something new and just seeing it develop into something, because the thing I know about me, and I'm sure this applies to you, too, is that I know I'm starting here, but this isn't where I'm ending.
That's it. And at the end of the day too, it's like it can't always be sunshines and rainbows. Like it's got to rain sometime, and you wouldn't have appreciation for a sunny, warm day if it never rained, because it would just be normal. That would be always. You know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be some kind of juxtaposition for you to appreciate those shows when 1,000 people show up, like, oh, all right, cool. Like maybe they just don't know us in that other place. Then it makes you think, all right, maybe we got to target some marketing to wherever that place was. And you don't have to get stuck on, oh, there's only 15 people at the show,
Yeah, no, and there's so much more like to being an artist, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like success. You know what I mean? It's like, like I would still give those 15 people the show that they came there to see. You know what I mean? Regardless, you know what I mean? And it's just like, but it's just part of the game. And I think even this conversation we're having right now, if there's an artist that's listening in who, is at that point in their career and stuff like that, like, don't get discouraged. You know what I mean? Because the music industry is a hard industry, and it's so easy to get discouraged because there's really not, we talked about this a little bit before, but it's like there's not a guide to being an artist.
There's nothing. And even a lot of people there's a whole bunch of people that try to make a living off of tricking you. Like, you've dealt with promotion
I've
stuff.
Been scammed before, dog.
It's very difficult to navigate, and you can't beat yourself up too much. The trick is just, like you said, just doing it, starting, and not being too caught up on the immediate results. You know what I mean? Like, think about what you're starting. You're just laying down a couple footsteps now. You're not thinking about where you're going to be 3 years from now. If you keep walking, you're going to not be in the same spot.
Exactly,
like you got to just keep moving, pushing, and like a shark, just you can't stop. I'm gonna just keep cruising,
Yeah, Dan, what's your message to the world? If someone's listening in, like, it doesn't have to be an artist, just to anybody. Like, if they were to take one thing away from Dan, what would that be?
My main thing has always been just follow your passion, your dreams. Like, that's what my mom instilled in me. And that's why I still do this as an almost 40-year-old guy who never really necessarily had any moment to say, you should keep doing this. There's been a lot more bumps in the road than there's been people lifting me up and praising me. It's been tough, and I would say do what you love. I love music. I love art. I feel it's one of the only reasons I'm here, besides being a father, and that's a huge part of my life, obviously, but this gives me purpose. And if you have something that feels you have that feeling, follow it. And even if it makes you go broke, like, that could be your whole purpose on this planet. No one knows, but follow your dreams. And don't listen to people, especially your friends and family could be the worst people in the world. Like, when it comes down to it, like, they could really try to, like, sway you away from the thing that drives you as a human being. Like, you got to really just be steadfast and just knowing, like, this is what I want. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah.
And to talk on that too real fast, like, with family or friends trying to dissuade you from what you like, sometimes that's not always from a place of malice. Like, sometimes that's a place of love where it's like they don't want to see you get hurt because they know what a challenging path that can be.
Correct.
So, like, if there are people in your lives, like, take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, obviously your grandparents, they're not going to have the same point of reference as you do as a young person, knowing now that, like, well, it's not impossible to get a record deal.
Oh, yeah. Do you know how many years, not to cut you off,
no.
Like, do you know how many years of, are you making money? Are you making money? Are you making money? I dealt with before I was making money.
Yeah.
All of the years. All of the years. You know what I mean? Like, and, thankfully, at a point now where it's like, I figured out my way, figured out a path that this works for me. Mm-hmm. But it's like, just hearing that little, like, in the back of your head, it's like, leave me alone.
A little chirping, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, is just staying true to yourself. So if you think that you should be doing something, going against that gut feeling, there's nothing good that could happen to me. Like, I'm a big person on intuition, following your gut, your heart, however you want to word it. But yeah, man, whatever you find your passion, let it kill you.
Yeah. So what's next for Dan?
This album is so important to me. It's called Disaster Piece because it's my biggest masterpiece.
I love the play on words.
But I am a chaotic disaster. If I was a painting, it wouldn't be very pretty. It would be like somebody with high on PCP did it. There'd be scribbles everywhere. It'd be crazy. But it's also a play on finding my moments of peace and also disaster. Like the juxtaposition of those, the counterpoint, whatever you want to say, of disaster and peace. And I'm looking forward to just getting this stuff done and out there. And if people love it, like I said, I don't care if no one hears this because it's been such a cathartic project. But I really do think people are going to resonate with a few of these songs. And there's still some stupid stuff on there. I'm acting crazy and talking crap with, Gmo. And there's some songs that it's just like, oh, he's still acting like he's 18. But like there's a lot of really deep personal stuff that people are going to, especially if they're a follower of mine or a fan, or if they've listened to previous albums, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Or that's interesting. Ooh, the new little insights in the life of Dan. So
yeah, do you have an idea of when it's going to come out? I'm not going to make you say a date if you don't.
No, I don't, because I was going to I'm going to roll it out a song at a time.
Okay, that's a good play.
Because I don't have a big enough following, and I don't think this is probably maybe good advice to people too. If you're a new musician, putting a whole album out is kind of risky. I mean, extremely risky.
Yeah, I would never do it.
Because if you don't have people that are going to be receptive to it, it's just going to go nowhere.
Basically, every time you drop a single, it's like a dart, and that's like another opportunity to hit that bullseye.
Exactly, and I've had better success with that, a lot better success. So I'm going to start dropping a song maybe every couple weeks. I don't want to put myself under too much scrutiny because I wanted to do every other week, which is probably doable. I just want to get maybe 4 or 5 mixed.
Yeah.
So I can then give myself the runway to be like, okay, cool,
and not be as panicked as me with this 50 States project.
It's so funny we were talking about this. I was like, that's exactly where I'm going to be.
Yeah, I was
with
just
this.
like, oh man, he's talking about me right now.
That's exactly where I'm going to be, because I want to just make sure I got 5, 6 songs done. Because it's going to be a full project, maybe 12 to 15 at least. I mean, it's a...
Well, Dan, I want to have you back on when the project's out and maybe live down for a little bit.
Yeah.
But if people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
I'm on regular social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Actually, I don't play with Twitter no more. Really, I'm
not X. You know.
Yeah, so like Danimal Lector 203 on Instagram.
There,
yeah, they're still there. I still have the app on my phone, but I don't really go on it. My YouTube channel, I haven't been uploading as much, but I would like people to check out my cartoon series on there.
Dude,
that's fun. And I actually had the guy who did the voiceover for the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, amazing,
John Kassir,
dude.
he does the voice of my introduction on the TV show. Like I, did business with him. Like that's a bucket list thing as a kid because I'm obsessed with that show. I've had Chris Calico from Strange Music. He played the angel in my dreams, like my...
That's so
like
funny,
the angel
dude.
on my shoulder in the cartoon. So,
Chris is mad funny, dog.
Dude, there's a lot of cool stuff that if people want to dive into Dan, the YouTube channel probably be the best place to go.
Amazing, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on the pod, dude.
Yeah, man.
This felt like a really good one, man.
Yeah, I'm down to do this again whenever you want, man. This is fun.
Yeah, no, I think when you drop the album, we'll have you back on because this way we could come back, like promote that too. And yeah, there's so much more that we could have talked about too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we go way back, I know.
That's what I'm saying. But I feel very good about, I mean, that was a very you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that was good. It didn't feel like work either, It felt like very natural conversation.
It really felt like we were catching up, which we
haven't been doing.
Yeah, we needed a good catch up, dude.
Yeah, besides the hectic...
Target doesn't count. The Christmas shopping,
the week before Christmas at Target, that's literally probably the most chaotic time.
Oh, it's the worst time because, I'm mentally checked out of all things work. I'm just Christmas shopping.
Yeah, I'm just like,
oh my God, family,
I got a list on my phone. I'm just grabbing boxes.
Yeah, the Lego aisle, dude.
It looks sort of like Supermarket Sweep back in there. Like I'm just shoveling toys in a bin. Like I just gotta get out of here.
But yeah, man. Well, thank you for coming on,
dude.
Yeah,
no problem, dude.
Hell
Appreciate
yeah, dude.
you.
Appreciate you too, dude. I want to share with you guys my thought of the day. And my thought of the day is this. Do what you want in this lifetime. Don't wait for that moment. You got to go out and get it. Get started today. Get after it. Whatever you need to do, make it happen. And you got to believe before the world does.